Hello.
No, who's that?
Yeah, we are live.
Is Danny
So,
with us?
yeah, Danny is with us. So, Danny, been a
Evening,
while.
Danny.
Evening.
It's been a while. I can't remember the last time we've done this, actually.
Ah,
I can't remember when the last time we've done this, actually.
no, it's been a while, isn't it? I ain't really been
Yeah.
streaming, to be fair.
Right. So, do you want to start telling us, do you want to tell everybody what you've been doing? Because
Who,
obviously
me?
you've been obviously been out and about, haven't you? So a few things. So, tell us a bit about what you've been doing.
Just the same old, really. Just been getting out there, spreading the truth, making sure that all the events that we've been having have been as successful as we can. Obviously, all of that has scared the government into the position that that they went down, and now we're feeling the full force of it, I guess. Yeah. Apart from that, I've not really. I'm always doing something, but
Mm.
it's not always out there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some things are for later on in this year. I've got a lot of stuff that's coming in September and whatnot. I'm speaking to a lot of people, especially in Europe. So when they get signed by me or whatever, we can confirm that we're going to do X, Y, Z. Then
Yeah.
that'll
Well,
be about
can't discuss that until it happens. So.
exactly.
Yeah. So obviously you're aware of a lot of what's going on. What do you think? I don't know. I suppose it's a stupid question, but what's your opinion on the official narrative given to a lot of uh, dissenters? Can I say what we're seeing that are expressing their emotions?
Yeah, well, the official narrative is just it's another tool to whip down Englishmen, to make sure that they stay in their boxes. But it's not really working this time. Enough really was enough. There's only so much whipping that you can give someone before they say, you know what, yeah, it ain't really gonna matter no more. You do what you do, and I think we're at that stage now where
Mm.
and it's showing. It starts
Yeah,
off with the brutal murder of the three children, and
yeah,
people are the mainstream media are like, oh, you can't be doing this to their legacy. You can't be having this amount of criminal activity off the back of it, and it's like it's not. We're just trying to do what we're doing for the girls to make sure it never happens again, and we can really get something in place to say, there will be checks and balances, and there will be ways. Obviously, you can't shut it down completely, but we can do a lot better job of making sure nothing like this will happen again. Look at Emily Jones; she got decapitated.
yep.
This was not an English person. This was a asylum seeker, and she got her
I mean,
head
yeah, because
took
there's
off
a
at
lot of
8 years
people that
old.
would argue that there is English people that
Huh?
do exactly. People do argue that there is English people that do these horrific things.
Who?
Uh,
We got the
I don't know.
soul. We got the soul murders. Yeah, that was a
Mm,
brute. That was brutally sickening, killing them kids. Yeah, but it's not in the
Yeah,
same way.
it's just a tactic. Yeah, it's just a tactic they use because there is other killers, and they say that we're just talking about certain things. It's always the same constant argument.
Yeah, but it's the way that it's the way that it's done. They're trying to say that these people are Christian. Is a Christian person, but they're not talking about the radicalization that he's gone through.
Mm,
They're not doing the official. They're not doing themselves right by not giving the right narrative out. They're trying to hide things down, and the more that they try and hide, the more that we can uncover, and the easier it is to get the truth out there. And then you're going to be in a position where the government, nobody's listening to them because they know that they're liars. Like I was saying that now they're saying that you can't be doing what you're doing because of the brutal murders of the girls. That's been and gone. That was the catalyst of what's happened. Okay,
Yeah.
we've done what we've had to do on that side of it. Now it's about getting back the country. It's about enough is enough. It's not don't bring the girls into it now. This is now going forward and saying, right, this is what's happened on multiple times. Okay, and if it is English people that are doing it, that's what we as English people we've got to take it. We've got to take our own. We shouldn't have to have this from imported people. We shouldn't have to import these types of crime. So now it is saying enough is enough. Let's get them out. Let's deport everyone else. Remigration is all our friends. Let's send them back. Anyone coming in, we'll just turn them back around and send them off to France. And it's as simple as that. They're not going to like it too much, but they can kick them out of France themselves. Won't go to Spain. They go back to Italy. Italy's a bit of a nice country from now.
Yeah. Well, some would say that's passing the buck, but then again, they say you've got to protect your own borders.
Yeah, it's not passing the buck. Exactly, it's not passing the buck. We've got the biggest and the most effective border in the world, and that's the water all around us. We've got water, right? So that should be protecting us from any of these types of attacks. But it's not, because we're allowing them in. And that's the problem. It's allowing them in.
See, it's international law. This is the thing. It's international law. It's annoying. Because if we could just say
really,
no.
though.
It is. It boils down to the migration law. It's international law. This is like decades old. But that's why this is happening, along with like the Barcelona Declaration and a few other things. But it's annoying because we can just say no, and there's nothing they can do. It's just an agreement. You can ask MPs and other people, and they're like, "Well, nothing. What can be done? Nothing."
This is the thing.
We just disagree. We say no. We're not doing it no more.
That's what I'm saying. It could be international. It could be any laws of the world. Okay, we are a sovereign nation. All we have to do is say no. If people then want to say, well, we're going to force you to do this, then we will have to go to war. This now, the times that we're in, is not going to be a time of happy clappy. Let's all just live in peace. This is going to be a time of the oppressed versus the oppressors. This is what Black Lives Matter they dream about, and now when it's happening, they start crying about it. This is what it is. You're going to have two sets of people, and one's going to be trying. You have to overcome the other. So if it's a country, if they want to start sending all this stuff across, and believe you me, if it's Marine Le Pen got in, and she was she was able to create the biggest government, she'd be shipping them across to us. She'd be shipping them across in a boat. She wouldn't have cared. She would have cleared her own stuff. So that's what we need to do back to them. It's our country, our people. We have to protect them first.
What happened to Nath and you, Danny? What happened to when you're asylum seeker? You're supposed to stay in the first safest country you come to, not say, "Oh, I want to go 10 countries farther on." You're supposed to stay in the nearest one and they claim you're asylum there. But these people now, they ain't going to get the benefits anywhere else that they're going to get here. So, of course, it's a land of milk and honey, and it's here. That's why they want to come here.
Exactly. When they were all at Napier Barracks, I spoke to a dinghy man. He was fresh. He just come over and he was in London. And I asked him, "Why did you come here?" And he told me basically he went to Italy and they give him the paperwork and they didn't give him the house. He went to Germany. They didn't give him no paperwork and they didn't give him nowhere to live. They were living on the streets. He went to France and there's all problems everywhere he went until he got to England, where he's got the accommodation, he's got the money, and he's got the paperwork that he needs, and that's it. That's why they come here, and this is the thing. It's why I'm loving what's going on now, because Theresa May back in 2016 said that we have to make this country a what was the word that she used? It's got to be a hostile environment. And that's what we're getting in now. We're making sure that it's a hostile environment. So now the people in the hotels, is it right or wrong that they were setting fire to the hotel? It was probably wrong. It was probably wrong because there was people in there. But, where they were doing it, it was probably safe, right? Because of the sprinkler system, because it's only a small thing. But the message that it sent out, that they can send back to France to say, these people ain't messing about no more. You
I
know,
mean,
that's what you look at.
I could be wrong,
If this,
but I believe it was back then with Theresa May that she signed Article 222 of the Lisbon Treaty, the primary clause. That's what we're going to face.
Yeah, she signed all sorts of stuff. They've all signed away our country. Every single person from 1,000 years has signed away some part of our country or whatnot. But what I'm saying is off the back, that's her words that she said. So we are now looking back and saying, well, if she said we should be doing that, why? She might be forcing a hand to sign something, and she might be telling the people, listen, what's coming your way is not good. I have to do it. They're not representing us. These people,
no.
the PMs, they're representing the World Economic Forum, Soros, and all these types of nefarious outfits. The deep state is what's controlling it. So she's just a face. So she might be giving out, all these people might be giving out all sorts of signals that we've got to try and interpret to say, oh shit, something else is happening.
If this government had a backbone, or them people sitting in that cesspit they call Parliament actually had a backbone, they could sort this out in no time. All they need to do is stop all the benefits, stop giving them houses, and as soon as they stop all the benefits and the hotels ain't getting paid anymore, do you think the hotels are going to let them stay there for free? They're going to kick them out onto the street. Then the winter's coming soon. When the winter comes and they're all freezing to death on the street, you think they're going to stay here when they ain't getting no benefits and anymore? They're going to all piss off back to where they come from, because at least the country where they've come from is hot. We're too soft in this country.
But see, that's the whole point of doing Clause 61, because everybody just down as tools gathers together long enough that the companies, the government, everybody just has to pay attention. Otherwise, we start seizing estates and stuff like that. That's the whole point.
But we're doing it now.
We need to show we actually mean it. Yeah, but we actually need to show we mean it. So we need to pick a spot, like in the old days, and we all need to go there, and we all need to stay there, just down tools and stay there, and make the government listen. No more going to Parliament and stuff like that.
Yeah, but that doesn't. That doesn't work in this day and age. It doesn't work because they've changed it all now. They'll just get a whole lot of people who they've imported, okay, to go and take your space. So everyone, how many millions of people are of working age? Say it's 30 million people. They can easily get in another, 10, 15 million people to make sure that the country is ticking over. These people ain't got they don't care about our rights. They don't care about our culture. They don't care about our country.
But that's the whole point now, Dan.
But once we start doing what we're doing now, listen, how many Cobra meetings has there been this week? There's been 3. How many times has Keir Starmer had to face the media about what's going on? I know they're lying and they're saying it's Tommy Robinson, it's the media, it's blah, blah, blah. People are getting out on the streets is what they're trying to stop.
It's people becoming a united force.
And this is a catalyst. They can't stop it. They can't import people to do whatever. They can get the UN soldiers that they've already got in the hotels to come out and bear arms against us, but that's not going to look good in international countries when we've got people like Elon Musk on our side to put out the truth.
Well, that's the thing. But imagine it if everybody that could picked a massive piece of land and all just went there. And because that's what 61 does, and then the barons have to come down, then we start shutting down the country. So imagine just a group of people just building and building enough that the barons then command us, and legally and lawfully we can go and start seizing these things, so they can't keep doing them until they actually start behaving properly.
Exactly, but I think it's a myth when you're saying to take over our jobs and that. I don't think these people want to work. I think they've come for the freebies. They've come for the free house and the free rent and the free money that they can spend and have for the kids and claiming for the kids and that. And they just want to walk around and doss all day. I think if you said, right, you've got to go in this factory now and work here for 40, 50 hours a week for the same money, they wouldn't want to do it. I don't think they would. A lot of people would.
Once the pound's strong, like it always has been, Okay, it's very good for. It's very beneficial for when they send it home. That's all they're doing. Is that is a trans. Is a country they come in to make themselves rich back in home because our pound is so strong internationally. If we're going to do anything of trying to remove it, we've got to then destroy our pound to make it not as effective abroad. If you look at Africa, let's get it up there. Africa GDP, Great British Pound in Africa. What is it? No, I can't find it now. Well, I guarantee you, it's about double. £1,000 here will be worth £2,000 in Africa, which will be enough to go and get a decent bit of land.
Yeah.
Then 10 years of doing that, working like a dog, being 4 up in a house. 10 years, that's all they've got to do is be here for. Send all the money back home. Then they live like kings for the rest of their days off the back of us. So I do think that if you gave them a chance to work, like all of them, they would literally take all the jobs that they could, and they would devalue what the jobs are because they'd know that a £10 an hour to an African guy will be perfect instead of paying a £13.50 or whatever it's supposed to be. So yeah, I just don't think it is a myth.
But this is the whole point of using law because it makes that unlawful.
But you say that, Dan. But if you look what they're getting, if you look what they're getting in benefits to what they get for working, that's what happens with a lot of English people. The same. They go and bring 7 or 8 kids over. They get more for being on benefits than they will for working. You've seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes in this country. And it's the same.
That's because it's allowed to happen.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That a lot of these people who come, especially the ones who come and then they send for the missus and the kids, when the missus and the kids and they've got 3 wives and 8 kids, they don't need to work because they just claim for every one of them and they've got it rolling in. That's the problem I'm trying to say to you. Is we're allowing too many. I agree with you, the ones who are coming in, like at the moment, when they do come by themselves, yeah, because that's a problem they've got in Belarus. They don't want to go to Belarus and work because, like you said, the English pound strong. Over Belarus, the money's shit.
And I suppose this is what the difference as well between illegal immigrant and immigrant, because I'm pretty sure there's quite a few immigrants, and there does seem to be, if you look at a lot of the marches that are going on and the various different people that attend these marches, I'd say that there's a lot of immigrants that are just as pissed off as everybody else.
This is what I tried to get to before with Black White Unite, right? I was telling them 2 years ago, I was saying to them, listen, it's coming to affect you. And people used to be like, yeah, no, it's no point as a unification because, at the end of the day, we've got what we're doing and blah, blah, blah. And I said, it will come to you soon. They'll take your house. They'll take your benefits. They'll take your jobs. They will get into your system, and disrupt it. And that's why now you're seeing a lot of people, because they are getting into their houses. They're taking the new houses. Some of these people in South London, they're getting these new houses around Essex and Southend and all this. Brand new high-rise flats and all that, right? Brand spanking new. It's giving it to London people, right? They're all expecting this type of gentrification or this upgrades or whatever, but it's going directly to the illegals. So now these people are saying, nah, we're not having that. Exactly what I was saying. It's going to affect you. Then you're going to come on the street. And that's why you're seeing an influx of black people now standing up, because now they're saying, now you're on my territory. I'm not the protected class anymore. The immigrants are. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the thing. This is why the people as a whole, everybody of the realm need to gather together, and we need to say no. It's more needed more now than ever. That's the whole point of Clause 61.
Yeah, but if you have to get it together, to do so. Because you'd have to get it together and start getting it all up massively.
Because how long ago was we speaking? Because we spoke about it like quite a while ago now, quite a few, I suppose, years ago now, isn't it? And I did say to you, I said politics are dead. And he was like, no. And he was like, the election. And I wanted to ask you as well. Now you've seen enough elections. Do you see what it was like? There is nothing that is of interest to the people. It has nothing to do with the people's interest.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do, but it's still the how things are getting done, because even after an Article 61 or whatever, you still have elections. I always said when
that's the whole point, yeah, because it removes the corruption, but then there's free elections once again. So people like yourself, other independents, if they want to, you can then run for office, and there can actually be a voice for the people, rather than
exactly. At the moment, see that
in a separate state.
At the moment, see that if you wanted to run for an election, because it's not free and democratic like it's supposed to be, you ain't going to be one of the names that we can vote for. It's got to be, your Keir Starmers, Tony Blairs, and all these sort of people, Boris Johnson. These are the people that put forward, and you're out in the cold. But if once we get rid of the corruption and we ain't got these people working for these rich elites, and it's for the people, then anybody who's got good ideas and thinks they can be an MP can run for office, like Nath has just said. And it makes it fairer. You're never going to get that while the system is the way it is, because it's a corrupt system. And if your name ain't on the list, you ain't getting in, sort of thing. And that's the way it will be until the people do grasp it, rise up, remove the tyranny, corruption and the oppression, get rid of them, get rid of the remembrancer out of Parliament, and then maybe people like you and others like you can do a good job in that Parliament for us. But you ain't going to get anywhere near it at the moment, so don't care who says they are, they ain't. Because as soon as they realise what you're going to do and you're for the people, you're finished.
So this is the thing, people will argue for a people's parliament, but they're not willing to undergo the process to create the situation to have that people's parliament.
Yeah. I get what you're saying, but I don't know. I think it's going to be one of those ones. Really, you got to see it to understand it, because where we are now, to go back to 100, 150 years, however long we got to go back to get to that stage, it's all been written out anyway. So the only thing that people can do is to do an Oliver Cromwell. Do you know what I mean? Or something like that.
Whole point. 61 is that kind of Cromwell.
There's no barons here that are not part of the globalist agenda.
Right? No, there is. They come out a long time ago, and they have to by law anyway. If they don't, then they commit treason, and then we carry on as a people, and they get tried just the same as the rest for treason.
Yeah. See, once Article 60, since once Article 61 starts, you've either got to do your job. Like me, if I was one of the barons, I'd have to do my job, or I could be arrested by you guys and tried and put in prison for treason, exactly the same as everybody else you're going against, because I'm not doing my duty that's put there in front of me to do.
And this
but
is
if
the
everyone
problem.
Doesn't do their duty, no one's going to come and arrest them, are they?
Yeah, but it's the thing about. So, cool.
I was going to say, if everyone says, you know what, we're not even doing anything, you've invoked Article 61, doesn't matter, we're not going to do anything, then nobody's going to go and arrest them, because of the current system that we're in at the moment. It's been written out. I generally believe that I think it's been written out. And the majority of the stuff, you might be able to go down one road slightly, but they're going to have cut it off, so you can't fully go down it.
Well, I don't know. This is worked time and time again. Last time was the Great Revolution, 1600s. But it's the thing. This is the lawful avenue to do it. So everything everybody's doing, this is the lawful way you actually meant to do it. But it is more powerful because we actually get to seize crown estates. We get to not pay taxes. So this is the whole point. It directs the people on the way they need to go to actually take back control. but nobody pays attention to it.
Because it's not been out there. To be fair, it's not something that's
It's getting out there quite a lot now, to be honest. It is now.
Yeah.
But it keeps going in like twos and throws.
Yeah.
It is law. As much as people can argue against it, it is law. So if you want these people punished, then you also have to obey the law. You can't commit a crime to punish a crime. So we have to stay lawful. This is the whole point. We have to stay lawful.
Yeah, but cool. When the lawful bit ends and you can't do it lawfully, okay, because they've corrupted the lawful ways of doing it, then there's got to be other ways. The right to protest is what we're invoking now, is our rights as individuals to protest and to assemble, and they're trying to take that away from us, right? To try and criminalize that aspect of what it is. So once they do that, that's not going to stop people from doing it. They're just going to go out and do the illegal act.
That's why we have to defend the bill. It states in the Bill of Rights the right to protest, and that actually comes before.
But who's defending it? Who's defending it?
Well, this is the point.
Who? Tell me.
It has been upheld. It has been upheld.
Who?
Supremacy. Its supremacy has been upheld by the Supreme Court, Crown Courts, Magistrates Court, every single court.
Yeah, but where is it?
In fact, actually, the Bill of Rights was what was involved with the Gina Miller case.
What, Brexit?
And within that document has our constitutional right, and it is unrestricted. And it actually comes before, because it's the Bill of Rights which actually gives the government the rights to legislate. But if we're going with the doctrine, and I've said this many times, if we go with the doctrine of what's most important, our right to protest actually comes before the rights of government to legislate. So our right to protest is more important. So it's a constitutionally protected right.
Yep.
Yeah, it'd have to be. You have to put all that stuff out there, then, wouldn't you?
Well, that's what you did. That's what you did in the court, Nathan, if you remember, when they said you was out in a group of two or three when we went down to find that stuff in. And when you went to court, you said, hang on a minute, and you brought that up, Section 5 of the Bill of Rights, you'd right to protest, and you won the point.
Yeah, I did actually, I made a point of lawyer on there,
Yeah,
but outside it was upheld, and it was also upheld as well in a case that I helped with about the blokes that took the gallows to Parliament, and the right to protest under the Bill of Rights, its supremacy was upheld.
Yeah, because the only thing the judge said to you when he realised he couldn't get you for that because you was within your rights, the only thing he could do you for was the legislation that passed, or tried to do you for, but he couldn't do that either, of being in a group of three, which we wasn't. There was only me and you. That person come down after and come across.
Yeah, because they had to try and prove that I premeditatedly went there to be in a group of more than two. Yeah, I think it's more than two. So me and you just went there on our own. That was a long time ago now. That was during COVID, beginning of COVID.
Yeah, it's 2020.
But no, but this is the thing. What we need now is we need focus. So this is the whole point. When you say about like the Black White Unite Day, we're all in the same boat. We're all facing the same enemy. We've got to say at some point, enough is actually enough. And the way to do that is we've all got to go and get somewhere and gather in a mass group, because we're not going to organise over social media. We're not going to organise any other way. We need to go and be on a piece of land long enough that we can get together and we can discuss what we have to do.
Yeah, and then get the Baron, show the Barons there's a show of force. They've got an army, and then they'll come down and discuss what they're doing. They ain't going to come like we've said many times, you ain't going to come for a couple of 100 people. For them to come, you've got to show that you really want it. And if you really wanted it, you'd be there in your hundreds of thousands, or that would you would be there with your numbers, wouldn't you? If you really, really wanted it, what you should be.
Yeah, but then again, this is the thing. A couple of hundred could start to trickle to thousands, and this is the whole point.
Yeah.
At some point, all trusted people are going to have to say, right, we're going to have to gather together and put our heads together, and that's what we need to do. And the best way we have to us at the moment, the only option really is camping. So just get a tent, we get into a big enough piece of land, we all get down there and we'll actually discuss it in person, because it's not going to be working over social media.
No. And that's what you got to do. And the people, there's plenty of people out there doing lives and that now who are well known. That should be pushing 61, because the part of the problem if they don't, because 61 100% is a solution. And we've said, and me and you have both said, if you don't think the solution, come on with us and prove us wrong. Bring your evidence and prove us wrong.
But it's not
But
so
they
much
don't.
about proving. It's not so much about proving wrong, though, isn't it? You got to prove a concept as well. And this is
We have done. We've already done it, Dan.
This is the thing. If you prove the concept, then the people will follow. They'll see it and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, cool, that works. That's good." But when things are either very, very long-winded, without any type of not instant gratification, but short-term results or short-term responses, then people kind of will forget about it and carry on with the hectic world that we live in. Do you see what I mean?
But we have already proved the concept. If you look, it's there for all to see. It's still on YouTube now. It's still on Nathan's YouTube. When we went into the Fabian Society in 2018, only 8 of us, the one vast amount of us there, we upheld our rights. We upheld 61, the Constitution and everything else. And we arrested them. The police come, backed our charges. We didn't get arrested or anything. We did it in front of the world cameras. I mean, what more proof do they want? That the concept works. None of, and like Nathan says,
there's nothing happened from that, though, was there? That's what a lot of people ask me about when I think it's one of the ones that I shared it. But then from when the cameras have gone off, Khan wasn't in any lawsuit. Khan wasn't.
This is the thing, because there's an investigation. There was the investigation. They're not going to do it publicly. But there was the investigation. The Met Police actually backed the charges, and they put them to CPS. And they actually stated when they put them to CPS for the reasons why was evidence of crimes proven. Problem is when it got to CPS basically said that and this is why we sort of say about consent being on the electoral roll, because there was more people that consented to his actions because of the electoral roll, because of voting, than there was that was backing him wanting to be prosecuted. So therefore they said it's not in the public's interest. So what we need people that are interested to contact CPS and say they are indeed interested, because it needs to swerve the people.
Yeah, but
if no one's bothered about them being prosecuted, there's a case number and everything. No one's bothered about them being prosecuted.
Yeah, but you've got it from the CPS that the charges it's not in the public interest or anything like that. Then just put that out. Put the CPS
statute of limitations is not up. This whole point, they just shelved it. They can't rebut it. They've just shelved it.
Yeah, but they're going to give you info, aren't they?
No, we have to have a response. Basically, we have to prove that it is in the public's interest.
Yeah, but they've got to tell you that that's what they want from you. So there's a letter to say we're not going to go anywhere because there's more people voted for Khan than didn't vote for Khan or whatever. But you're going to have that bit of paper, so put that out there.
It's not on piece of paper. That was over a telephone call. That's the only thing we regret. We never actually got that recorded.
Oh yeah.
But that is the fact of law. If you go into the reasons why in the case, that is a fact of law, because there is not enough people that are interested in these people being prosecuted, because you have to actually show it. Saying it on your Facebook does not equate to them actually knowing officially that you want him prosecuted.
Yeah, so it's double-edged sword there, because people would probably go for it if they could see this is what we're going for. This is actually, listen, look at it there. If we all say and sign this link that goes directly to the CPS about his arrest, just go back to him and say, look, we want a link, and I'll get the people to sign it. Go back to him.
Yeah, that's the thing. So
it's like Sexton, isn't it? With all the COVID stuff, the one thing that everyone was saying was, where is the actual proof of what we're doing? That's what thousands of people would say all the time. Where is the actual proof? You had the police report number. Some would say yes, this is valid. Other people said, "Oh no, it's not valid." We phoned them up, and the police said X, Y, and Z, and it went all over the fucking place. Obviously, if it's corruption, they're going to want that to happen. So they're going to want to make 100 different alibis or excuses, or to confuse the people, to make it seem like it's not legitimate. But nothing come off the back of it, and it kind of fizzled out.
It hasn't fizzled out. It's still going because it's still a live case. It's just shelved. That's the thing. But this is the problem. Enough people need to show interest, and this is where everyone is divided, and nobody actually does it. Everybody wants it, but no one's united enough to do it. Because everyone expects these things to happen. Because the thing, when you say it needs the people, it needs the greater populace. Under 30% of the people voted, so there is a hell of a lot of people that could just stand up and say, no, we want these people prosecuted, and it would happen.
But yeah.
But it's getting people united enough that they can come together to just say, look, these people need to be taken away. These need to be taken out, prosecuted, and it would set an example, because it would set a precedent. It would also abide by to the same, I'd say, charges to many, because they would all be complicit. I'd say you'd be looking at a mass group of conspiracy to commit. But this is the thing, and this is where people would need to learn their constitution, because it's the constitution that actually takes these people out. They remove them from our government. They remove the government in a whole if it is unlawful. But enough people of the realm have to be united enough to stand up and say no. And that's where we need to be heading for. That's the aim. That's the goal that everybody should want.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's difficult.
And we've also
there's a lot of stuff there. Do you know what I mean? It's not a. It probably wouldn't even be in my lifetime to get enough people to learn the constitution and whatnot. You need to start getting the kids to start thinking about it this way and hoping that they all go on.
But this is the whole point. At this point, all we have to do is understand Clause 61. That's one clause. And it was written in plain English, because most of the people at the time, well, up until recent times, about 95% of the world could not read or write. So the whole point of that clause and its design, written in plain English, so it was so people could go to towns, read it out loud, and the people would know by law what they are bound to do. So you can just read it. It tells you.
It is that powerful, and that's why they don't want people to get behind it. That's why you've got people going around saying it's not applicable anymore and all this, but it's always going to be applicable because it's been used at least 3 times since 1215. Glorious Revolution was used. And it's part of the Constitution. It's your right to do it, to go in there and do it. And I know what I'd rather do, and I have done it. I'd rather go into 61 and be covered lawfully, my actions be covered lawfully, than to just go out rioting on the street like they're doing at the moment with no protection whatsoever and going before the judge and getting set down. Because at least if you're peaceful, if you go out there peaceful and you're recording the police attacking you, you're in 61, they are then the aggressors. And you've got it all on film. You say, hang on, we're in 61, we're not the aggressors, these are. At the moment, you ain't got no, everybody's just going out doing their own thing. And
what we need to do, with the energy that you're seeing
there's a few people now already been before the judge.
Yeah, but what we need is the energy that you're seeing in what people are doing recently, showing their disdain. We need that energy focus. That's why we need to all get together, and we need to focus that energy, and we need to divide that energy to where it's needed. That's the whole point of Clause 61. That's what we do under the barons. But we do it lawfully, because anything we do that's outside of the law, anything we do that's outside of the law will be overturned. But if we do it lawfully, this is why 61 is there. If we do it lawfully and we remain in the law and we do it as one, so just imagine everybody in all the areas getting together in one area.
Yeah. I see that, but again,
and staying there, and I don't mean a day protest. I mean staying there and actually organising ourselves.
But then what?
Well, I don't need none of that.
That gets decided there, doesn't it?
But what could you do? You get 100,000 people. Get 100,000 people to stay there for 100 days, right? During 100 days, then what? Government ain't gonna give a shit.
Yeah, but under the barons, we have the ability to seize Crown Estates.
But once you go and try and do the Crown Estate, you're going to come and lift you. You're going to be in the jail, in the court, the same way as the people writing. It's going to be a kangaroo court. You'll be in and out quicker than you can know about it, and you'll be in some prison somewhere, just waiting for your time to come. Hardly any right to anything.
But this is why we do it as en masse as the people. This is why everyone's meant to get together first, because when the people speak, like I said, remember, all we need is 30%. So when the people speak, and when we under 61 lawfully take action, there is no denial, there is no arrest, and if there is that kind of action, then by law, they are unlawful actions. Therefore, they'll be an outlaw.
Yeah, but if you look at it in today's standards, this is what I'm trying to work out, right? If you look at it as today,
if our actions are lawful, by their actions, it's unlawful, isn't it?
Yeah, but then they've got the protection of the government still. All through this, they're still going to have protection of the government, and that's the problem. No matter, you get 200,000 people down, right? You've got 25 people who are saying that the barons, they're legitimate, they're the ones that you can speak to, right? So all that sorted. We're saying, right, now we're going to go and take back what is ours, right? This is what we've been here for. And you go and you take back, I don't know, you go to a Crown Estate and saying, right, this is what we're doing. We've taken it over. All you people can leave because now it's under our management, right? You got 2,000 people there. They're not just going to allow it to happen. Say they did allow it to happen, and you keep repeating it, right? You keep repeating it. You're going to come to a stage where the government's going to be like, we can't keep having this happening. We've got to make a strong response to it, and that strong response will be to come in. They won't care if it's an unlawful act or whatever, because the police and that will be acting on behalf of the government. And then there's no power. You're not going to go
And
to the chief constable and arrest the chief constable because it's someone above him. So you're not going to go to the person above him and arrest him. And then if you do arrest him, where are you going to put him?
But it's the thing. This is where we need to be organised, and this is why we all go into one place, because we have to protect each other if that does happen, because it will be an unlawful attack. And yes, unfortunately,
And then you attack
the
back, didn't you?
constable's not going to listen on the spot and stop battering you. No, but it's an unlawful act, so we will still be acting within law. But this is the whole point. We've got to gather as a whole. So it's not just a group of people and everybody watches it on TikTok or YouTube or Facebook and saying, well done. Everybody should be getting down there. Imagine enough of us just standing there saying, no.
But that's what's happening now.
Yeah, but we
There
need
we
to
go.
organise. We need to organise. So instead of separate, this is where we all need to start saying, look, we're going to be doing this and we're going to do it united.
Yeah,
This is
but
why we come together on one piece of land and we say, right, what's going on?
yeah. Individually, there's what is there tomorrow? There's 33 different protests. We're going to get to 100 protests in 100 different locations, right? But people know who these people are.
Yeah.
So it will get to a stage where there will be a one protest. There is like a plan of actions. But that's all that seems like is what you just talking about, but you're talking about it as in, the roots of it, because you guys know the roots of it, the in and out. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't even try and even get 1/10 of what you know about all these laws and all these acts and blah blah blah. I have no idea. I'm just doing it from a layman's point of view.
That's the whole point. It should be from that point of view.
Yeah, but that's what I'm just looking at it from. But how I'm looking at it now is that's really what's happening now with the protest. Okay, the protests are only getting into righty bits because of the bits you're not seeing, the police action or the little bits of winding up or the people infiltrating to turn it that way. But originally, it's just kind of like we're standing firm enough, and the government are listening.
This is where the people need to unite, and all it takes is three forms, and we unite together, and we all say, and it does mean in law, because this is the whole point. Why we're doing what we're doing, it's always going to be classed as illegal or unlawful, and they'll always get to say no to it. But if we actually start putting our heads together, and we actually do undergo the, and it is a lawful process. The whole reason this process is here is because of what's happening. So if we all do actually unite, go under this process, and we get united, we get organised. There's a lot more we can do.
What people don't understand is that I know it was all them years ago, but the actual king and the barons then signed the agreement where if anything like this ever happened, they are ordained and have the power to take back the country with the people. They're already ordained. We ain't been ordained. So if we just go like we're doing now, 300,000 go down and drag them out and try and drag them out and all that, we ain't got no authority. But if you go into 61 and you give the barons the authority, it's been ordained on that piece of paper that if anything like this happens, they can take over and they have to listen to them because it's in the contract.
Yeah.
That's the difference. That's what we're trying to say. That's the difference. You can either go down with protection and people who've got the authority to do it on your behalf, or you can just go willy-nilly and do what we're doing now and just everybody keep getting arrested and end up with half the population in prison cells.
It was like Tommy said the other day, it's like we've got to act lawfully, we've got to be lawful. And he's exactly right in that point. We have to be lawful. And to be lawful, you have to be inside the law. And unfortunately, then you have to deal with 61 because 61, but now it's been invoked. And since it's been invoked, is now in law. So we are by law all actually meant to be doing this.
Yeah, but yeah. I'm just trying to work it out. To be fair, with
To
a
me,
more
though,
of a more way that can be done now, because it's just essentially taking back the power away from the government back to the people, understanding that the people have the power.
But actually, what 61 does is it removes consent from the crown. So basically, it's called diffidage. Basically, it removes your fealty from the crown to the barons. So the barons are then in charge of basically running the country until the crown. And the fact of the matter is, Parliament stole the royal prerogative, for want for better words, back in the 70s. That means our crown has been captured. So technically speaking, anybody in the Royal Constabulary or the armed forces saw a duty, and your duty, the oath you swear is actually 61, and that is to protect the crown and the realm. To be technically speaking, in law, the crown has been captured, so it is all of our duty. That's why 61 also has to be invoked, because of our sovereignty. It's all of our duty to recapture the crown and restore the contract between the people and the crown. That's why the barons invoked it in 2001 through the Nice Treaty, because it involves taking away our sovereignty. The document FCO 3010/48, I think it is, that was hidden for 30 years under the Official Secrecy Act. In that document, they was forewarned that going into the European Union and all the other treaties would have a dire effect on our sovereignty and would remove pretty much all of it. So they knew before, and they put it under the Official Secrecy Act for 30 years. They have been unlawful and treasonous for many years, and this is what our case involves.
Yeah.
This is why we do, and we argue for. I'm not against politics. I mean, I know I say, well, I've said it to you many times that I don't do politics, but it's not. I don't agree in politics, but I want it clean. So I want a people's politics. So the only way to do that is to lawfully reset the political system, because Parliament has to abide by the Constitution, and a lot of things they're doing are unconstitutional. So that's void by the fact. So we can reset it to the point where we can actually have a people's parliament, and that is the way we do it in law. Until we do that, any other way would be classed as unlawful or illegal. That is the way we get a people's parliament. It's to remove consent and then apply consent to those we want to consent to. But we have to restore it to the crown if the crown abides the contract, and that's why it's mentioned in the coronation oath.
it does sound complicated, but it's not really. It's you ain't got to worry about any of that. All we've got to do is fill the forms in and back the barons, and they'll take all the heat. They take all the work, because they come forward in 2001 in March, and they invoked it, because the Nice Treaty that was signed 2 weeks before.
Sorry. Who did that though?
Four of the barons. I can't remember the names now, but I've got the video anyway. I'll send you the video if you want, Dan.
Yeah, definitely.
Explaining it all, and basically they went and invoked it. They wrote to the Queen and got 40 days. On the 39th day, she didn't write back, but
Hello. Hello.
I think he's just dropped there with us. But yeah, there are 4 barons who was actually put out in the Telegraph and a couple of other newspapers as well. It was proven that they have the right to do so, because 25 barons are indeed actually duty bound to uphold the Constitution and hold the Crown to account. So
what did these barons do after that? So they got the. I'm guessing the next bit of what Gary was going to say is they replied. Somebody replied back to the barons and said, "Probably you're right." Yeah. Yeah, basically, it wasn't the Queen herself; it was the Queen's secretary replied back and said that you're correct in what you're saying. Yeah. Said, so what happened? So what did the barons then do?
the Baron's next step then was to publicise the invokement of 61, which they did. That's what I said. If you look on internet and Google it, I think the Telegraph, Daily Mail, it was in a few newspapers, even though some of them done it really small, but it was actually in the newspapers. That's the step. The next step we're meant to do in the process is actually gather on a piece of land so they can come and command us to shut the country down and take control. But we've never done it.
But what
It's
so,
still in force today, and the Barons still are waiting because they have to do it anyway, whether it be them or their grandchildren if it takes that long. But we have to gather as the Barons' army, so we have to do it lawfully. We have to do it under 61. That's the only way we can do it. They can't touch us, because if they do, it is a matter of treason. It's ultra vires and it's prima facie.
right. What the Barons doing now? Though, why? I'm not guessing why they're not like shouting and saying, "Listen, this is what you have to do." We've done our bit.
They invoked it in 2001, so they did their bit for a few years, but we have never answered, and this is why we're keeping it going now. They can only do so much. So until the PEs now, but this is the problem. They have done their part. They don't have to do anymore. They've done their part. They've invoked it. They've publicised it. They've told the people that this is your rights. This is your duty under law. But everybody's ignoring it. So technically speaking, everybody's acting as an outlaw. So it's only the ones actually signed 61 that come with inside the law, because you are not agreeing to the treasonous Parliament and what's happened to the Crown. That's the problem with law. This is a lot of what veterans get scared of. But that's what you got to understand. If you are outside, if you haven't signed 61, if you are not doing your best or whatever you can do to recapture the Crown and restore that contract, then you're actually an outlaw.
So then everyone's an outlaw.
And they use that a lot, and that is the basis, that the reason why they get away with a lot of the legislation and other bits like that, because you're an uncontrolled, childlike of mind animal.
Oh, right, yeah. So I'm looking at this thing now, right, and it says, what do they know? You know, when you send off freedom of information, it's refused. I thought it said there that it had been lawfully invoked, but they didn't fucking reply to them. All interesting. But yeah, I think personally, you guys should be doing the steps or something like that. I'm not sure how exactly, but to show the people what's needed, and once they can see things like that, you know, it's easy. Like if I was to say, right, in a protest, and I was to turn around and say, do you know what, people? If you will do this X, Y, and Z, right, I can legally go and do blah, 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 right? People will be like, you're chatting shit. You know, I can go and arrest. I can go and arrest him, right? If the old bill use the overreach of power, right, and it's clear as day, I can go and arrest them by saying these 3 words, right?
Well, we did actually. We went to one of Little Veterans protests in Dover, and we did actually manage to keep the peace at both ends and the protesters at both ends, and shut off a whole road and there is actually video. I don't know where it is, but there's video of me quoting Section 26 of the Criminal Courts and Justice Act of 2015,
which
is how you prosecute a constable for a breach of his duty.
And what happened from that?
The constables kept their end, and then we warned Nobby not to do, because they wanted to take the.
Was that when you got arrested? Slammed.
Yeah, but they wanted to take the protest into the town, and we said to Nobby, no, we've actually got the area. If you take it up there, then you breach our agreement, and you breach what you can, because you're now going into an area where it's a public order offence. So it's a breach of the peace to be as that group in the area. You get what I mean? It was an argument. It was an argument with the police, and everybody was okay. We kept the area along Dover, and then as soon as we left, Nobby took everybody up into the town and led them like it was an aggressive march. And then, like I said, it became a public order offence. So it's breach of the peace. So it comes under common law. Yeah, it's a different area. It comes under a different set of rules.
Yeah, I get it.
Because it's actions in a public area or a built-up public area.
Yeah.
So it's breach of the peace. So we still got to remain lawful. We can't breach the peace. So it's like when you're throwing bricks or shouting certain things, you can't argue that's public order.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it just needs more of that highlighting and get loads of shit. Get as much as you can, and say, listen, this is what's going on. This is what we can do. Because I'll be straight up. No one's. People want to see it happening. You know, people want to see somebody doing it before they'll do it.
But it's the thing. There is people that have witnessed me in court. We did the car arrest, which the video is on my YouTube. We proved that, but we got the police to back the charges on that. So like I said, evidence of crimes proven. So we did our job. We did it. We proved it as well. It's just because the people haven't backed it. And like you say, they keep saying, "Well, let someone see it." But you want a small group of people to prove what it takes all of us to do. That's the problem there. Everybody's got to start saying, right, no, we're all going to put our eggs in one basket. Here you go. This is it, and we're going to put it in. And we could all say politics and voting, but the only solution where we all actually equally, by law and by everything, put all our eggs in one basket is 61, because it restores back to the point of common law, and there is no abuse of common law. It is what it is. It's quite harsh, but it means we're all. This is the point. There's legislation creates a lot of arguments between different groups of people. So it means one feels more privileged than the other, so it then feels attacked and underrated. But common law doesn't do that. Neither does our constitution. In fact, it does the opposite. Everybody's equal. So what have you got to argue about?
I don't know.
You've got no more rights than I have. So what do we argue about? An opinion? But then it's just an opinion, isn't it? Until it transcends into a crime like assault. I mean, I don't know what you mean. You might want to jab me in the eye with a pen. I don't know. But until it escalates to that point, it's just an opinion. It's common law. So you abide by the same rules I do.
Yeah, and that's what's going on now, to a degree. But then they've got the additional stuff on top of it, because you're only getting done when you get arrested and you get charged. You're only getting charged under common law.
But this is the thing, a lot of people for many years, if you remember way back when you first died, people have been saying it back then, they're still saying it. Common law doesn't exist. But then we see all these cases at the end of the day, when you actually get into the nitty gritty of it, all tried, and all the basis is common law, because it's breach of the peace.
Which isn't a law.
Actually, it is. It's a common law.
Right.
Well, it's a common law statute, technically, if we're going to argue and repossess it. But then again, common law started with a statute by Alfred in his Day of Laws.
See that's the thing. That's where it gets complicated. Do you know what I mean? And it needs to be out there so it can be just done nice and easy. People can understand.
This is the thing. Common law is really easy. It's like me and you live next door to each other, yeah, Danny. It's like, I mean, I'm not being funny. You may like to every month, I don't know, go and have a naked shower in your back garden with a hose pipe. Totally your business, you know. I don't know, once every 3 months, I might like to throw, I don't know, an acid fest luau. If what we're doing isn't actually harming each other, where's the harm? Where's the foul?
Yeah.
So if what you're doing doesn't harm me or anybody else, then there's nothing there, is there? You just crack on, my son. You know what I mean? You grab that hose. But if it's wait, I don't know. But then again, your hose, if you do it long enough, could then actually damage my foundation of my house. So then you've created a loss to me because now I have to get it fixed. Do you understand what I'm saying?
So that's where it comes in.
So as
Yeah,
long as your
yeah.
action, but now your actions have now caused a loss, so now you've got to pay for my concrete.
Yeah.
Right, and as long as, and it's like, if I tell you a price it's going to cost, see, now this is where the last bit, not to be deceptive in your undertakings, because now if I get the bill and it's like, say it's like 15 grand, and I say to you, yeah, it's going to be 27 grand, and you pay the 27, that's me being deceptive in my undertakings. That's the fraud part.
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah,
that
some
hard to
bits will be
understand, is it?
simpler.
Yeah, that's not that is common law. That's what common law is based on. As long as your actions don't cause harm or loss to anybody else, you can harm yourself all day long if you want to, but as long as you're not harming anyone else.
Yeah, but then that was illegal. So there's another contradiction in it.
How's it illegal?
Well, it's committing suicide, isn't it? It's
No.
committing
I mean, you
offence.
can
It's an
harm yourself.
illegal act.
I mean, yeah,
Right?
well, you could say illegal, yes, but they're not going to arrest you, of course. And one, it's not unlawful.
Yeah, but it used to be. This is what I'm saying. It used to
But
be.
you can unalive yourself in many ways, and this is what
Oh
I'm
shit!
saying.
Yeah.
It's like you can harm yourself. So say, I don't know, say you've got a big back garden. Again, we live next door to each other. We've got massive back gardens. I mean, mine's a little bit bigger than yours, but you know what I mean, you've got a big enough garden to build a motorbike. I don't know, like an MX course.
Mm.
And you like to go out there and you like to get a bit more extreme. So if you hurt yourself,
Oh yeah.
no harm, no foul. You're hurting yourself, aren't you? You're not hurting me.
Yeah.
When we're talking about death, I mean, then that's why it comes into like with assisted death. That's why it is as it is, because if what you do to yourself could be argued a matter of accident or not, nobody's responsible. But when somebody assists it, then you actually have conspiracy.
That's when it is.
Mm.
And that's when it all starts getting down again.
I mean, this is the thing. Everybody tries to complicate it, but it really is simple. It's if we all just keep to ourselves, everything's okay.
That'll be the ultimate, wouldn't it? That'll be the
Like I
ultimate.
said, it's
Just let me
like,
do my shit. You
like I
keep
said,
out of my way.
it's like I said this the other day on a different night. So I could be living in the same street as Gary, and say I'm out taking me bins out one night, and I see Gary pull up, and he gets out of his car in nothing but like a G-string, holding a chicken under his arm and a big tub of Vaseline. You know what I mean? It's like, what? That's his business. You know what I mean? Nothing he's doing is harming me. So, you know what I mean? I'll ignore that. You know what I mean? So I'll keep myself to myself. I just hope I don't make eye contact and there has to be conversation. That's what I'd be worrying about.
You really worried about what?
I said I'd be worrying about making eye contact and having to have a conversation. So that'd be my main concern. It'd be getting away from there. But it's the thing, you mean let be, live and let live. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, it's true. It is true. Live and let live, eh? To a degree, anyway.
Yeah, but this is the whole point. This is why we have laws, and this is why we have common laws, because the Constitution protects the common laws because it protects our rights to actually create the laws and our supremacy of law. So when we're talking about common law, what we need is juries back in courts, and this is the biggest thing most people don't focus on. We need juries back. We should be tried by a jury of our peers. So our communities should decide the laws that matter in our community. So if we actually was able to get juries back, then you'd see common law, because a jury can nullify what the government do. Say the government have created an act, and it comes before a jury. If that jury decides that that act is constitutionally repugnant, or it goes against common law, That act is void.
Okay. Oh, right. A jury of government's laws.
Yeah, it's called jury nullification.
Yeah, that would be good. That's
But
what
this
should
is
be
the-
happening now, anyway.
But this is why you do Article 61, and this is why we have to go through this awful process, because we do actually take back the courts. We do actually take back Parliament and everything else. We actually reset it to the point where they have to act in this manner. And that's when we see the courts being cleaned up, because they have to go under a certain jurisdiction, because they'd have to be witnessed, and it'd be what you call open courts. That's the difference between, for instance, like a criminal court and a family court. A criminal court is an open court, so you can record it. And you can actually report to, I don't know, say like you give information to a paper or something like that.
Yeah.
But a family court is not. A family court is a closed court. So
It isn't all, isn't it?
Yeah,
It isn't all. You can't say that in a
it,
family court.
some say it's release on permission. But for instance, I do know of a case, actually it was my case, but, where there was recording done by the court that as well, which I actually requested. But during that case, during the whole court case, I kept saying to the judge and the barristers, "I am documenting your crimes." They all just kept laughing at me, and all the way through I said, "I am documenting your crimes," and all the way they kept laughing at me. And when we got to the end of the court case, the judge actually asked me, "Are you recording these proceedings?" And I said to the judge, I said, "Judge, you need to listen and really, really carefully, because I want my words on the record. I have never, nor will I ever intend to record a lawful court." And that's the thing. So I can release. You have the right. If they have the right to record, you have the right to record. Nobody is above the law.
And what did they say to that though?
Nothing. I can't say anything.
And you can't say that.
In that case as well, there was 2 verdicts needed in that case, and the judge in both verdicts would done an oral verdict, which means there's no verdict. She refused to do a written verdict, despite me sort of egging her on too. Basically come down because she doesn't have the authority to override constitutional and ancient customs. So she had to go no verdict in the case. So it's still hung.
Oh, right. There's these little nuances in law that you need to.
Coincidentally, in that same case, I raised 2. Well, the family court said there is no points of law to be raised. They said that about 25, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I actually raised 2 points of law in that same case. One being Section 3 Bill of Rights, that the court is actually not a court because there is bias within the family court, so therefore it cannot be a lawful, a court of record, which would make it a lawful court. And also I brought in, and people say it doesn't exist, but a point of law that was actually raised and accepted was under our ancient customs, and that would see are used in Malmentine laws. And that's been the first 2 points of law raised for about 35 years. 25 to 35 years.
That's all right, isn't it? That's good. And what happened off the back of that?
Still here. That, like I said, that's still an open case because basically it took ages because we went through loads of judges, basically just loads of old men. Went through loads of judges, and it was like a hot potato. Every judge kept throwing it to the next one, and then it landed up with like a very, very junior judge.
Right.
Her name was Miss Coffey or Kofi or whatever, however she found it. But yeah, and she was bewildered the whole way through, bless her. She could not rule, so she ended up doing a verbal ruling because in law that means no verdict.
Yeah, but then what does that mean in so it's not recorded then?
No, it is because it was done over basically like computer link. So there is a record, there's an audio record, that's what I've requested. There is an audio record, so there is proof of the case, but as it stands in law, the case is still open, so we have to go back to court.
To get
technically speaking, actually, I could just void the order, but the whole point is I need to prove this in case law. So I want to try and go as far as I can with this. But it is a constitutional right because it's to do with our ancient customs, and again, under coronation oath, the vow is to protect our ancient customs.
Yeah, push them on it.
And every judge actually has to swear 2 oaths, and one of them is to abide by the duties of the crown under the coronation oath.
Yeah.
That's why they've done it. It's like they've done verbal ruling, so it just puts it in pause. This is what they keep doing. This is why the people actually need to rise up and say no. But we're going to stand up for our laws because there's nothing they can do against them.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If you can get the stuff out there of the proof of it, of the concepts of it, and then obviously people can then stand upon that and say, "This is what we're doing X, Y, and Z for." You know, we're going to be going out, we're going to be rising up because that's what people like to do. People like to.
I don't know what's going on there.